What is up, players? It's Warboss Tay up in this mug. I am showing you today a package that I just unboxed from Awaken Realms. Look at this, they're so cool. They got their own packing tape. They sent me this tin in the mail, and it was so amazing. My eyes popped out, which is why I brought my contact case. I had to pop my eyeballs back in. And I'm so happy that I got this email asking if I wanted to review some of their pieces, because I had no idea they were doing this. I wasn't aware of the company. I'm not sure how many of you are, but I really think you should check it out because their pieces are just amazing. We've got Timmy in there. Timmy, the lost salamander space marine, just to show you a little size, sense of scale and size comparison. There are 5 pieces I'm going to be looking at today from Awaken Realms. Their Demonic Wasteland range. They had a Kickstarter for this. I think it was called Awakening, I believe. And I'm going to put a link to not only their Kickstarter but their website down below. You can check them out. They seem like a really cool group of people, and their pieces are just amazing. There's this other steampunk themed one that I was looking at, and I just think that they really got a great sense of style, and the pieces they made are terrific. Okay, so what they are terrain pieces, objective counters, things that you can use to spice up your table. And they're made out of resin. They just look absolutely fantastic, and let's take a look at what we have. If you remember the Elder Scrolls game Oblivion, then that is very much what this kind of brings to mind for me. They are pieces that look like they came out of a demonic hellscape. You've got, let's look at the smaller ones first, get those out of the way. You've got 2, they look like they could be pillars, stone pillars shaped like hands with fire coming out of them. Giant heavy chains, and when I'm looking at them right now I can kind of see that there's a little bit of flash. I just took these out of the bubble wrap, so I'm giving you the customer's experience. I didn't clean them up, I didn't do anything to them, but there's no I don't see any air bubbles or sculpting mistakes, and there's some really cool looking, in fact let's zoom in if we can. I'm trying to look at it over the camera, but I realized I can just look at it on the viewfinder here. Looks like they've got some really cool effect underneath where you strip away the stone, and underneath there's some really cool looking textures that you can paint up in a variety of different ways. I think I'll probably paint it up like flesh, bloody skin, flayed skin and stuff, and ew, that just looks really great. Look at that texture there. This is amazing. The chain work is really well done. Each individual link looks nice and solid and heavy, and the base itself has a good texture on it that you could paint like stone, lava, like a lava world or like a demon world. You can even paint it, I think this is actually a quite interesting idea, you could paint it like it's in a forest or a meadow, and like these pieces are just springing out of the ground because they've been summoned from the demonic wastelands. So there's the first piece. Let's take a look at the next one. This is another small piece, the second of 2 small pieces, and this is a bunch of chains that look like they're wrapped around, oh, that looks like armor, like 2 giant pieces of armor there. And yeah, it looks like hands, arms, and these are like shoulder pads, and the arms are linking hands at the center, and there's chains wrapped all around it. I do see a little bit of a mold line there. That's not going to be a problem. You just take the back of your hobby knife and scrape it away. But I mean, look at the detail on the fingers, and like the hands look, it's so hard, I think, I've tried drawing hands. I can't imagine how difficult it must be to plan out and sculpt realistic looking hands, but these fingers and the way they're angled, the knuckles and everything, they look really well done. So I think I would paint this maybe like it's an actual, maybe the way to paint these are that they're actual like greater demon arms bursting out of the ground and just stuck because they're chained in place and they cannot move, and there is a very angry greater demon on underneath the ground, just hanging out and waiting to be set free by the chains. I think that's the way to do it. That's got to be the way. Instead of painting them up as stone, I think that's going to be pretty cool. So this is the one of the cooler pieces, I think. Also, it's looks like a giant wolf skull. There's a human skull there. Oh, these look like floating pieces of stone masonry that are coming out of the ground. I love how Awaken Realms, they've sculpted this piece to really look like it is being suspended and hanging, and that it's being tethered by these chains. I think if a lesser quality company or a lesser sculptor were to sculpt this, you would not see the chains kind of bent at that angle, the hands. The way they've made this is it really looks like there's a sense that it's floating and that it's just kind of hanging there, and the chains are hanging almost limply there, but the fact that it looks like suspended, it doesn't look like there is a lot of weight to it, which is great, because the way that the shape of the piece is, it looks like it should be very, very heavy, and it should be collapsing in on itself, but it's such a cool effect. I really, really like this one, which is why I wanted to show it off. It looks just simply amazing. Stonework, skull there. Yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful piece right there. Okay, next I want to show you one of the two portal pieces. So this looks like it's got a bunch of hands reaching out, and let's see, wait for the camera to focus a bit on it. There we go. So you've got, like, you could paint this like a portal that's been opened to the underworld, and these arms are pulling out, trying to grab hold and pull the demons out from inside. It just looks so good. And again, it's got that sense of it's rising, pulling out of the ground. You can see the way that they've sculpted the connecting pieces makes it look like it's really stretching and holding itself in place. So there's no sense of heaviness or weight to it. The way they've sculpted the connecting pieces, just like the floating skull, really makes it look like it's being pulled in place or held in place, and that it's suspended and that it's not weighted. And I think that's just really, really good. It's a really clever way of doing it. Obviously, resin is a lighter material than metal. So if it was metal, I'm sure it would be a lot heavier to hold in place like that. But the way they've sculpted these pieces to look like they're stretching to hold it in place, and like the higher this thing would raise, the more taut and stretchy it would be, like taffy, I think is just really well done. Like, look at all of the lines and just the texture on that. It's really cool. I'm already inspired to think of different ways to paint these pieces to make them look like they are just being pulled from some kind of demonic nightmare. This is the last piece, and it looks like it's more of a, it looks like more of like a Stargate sci-fi kind of thing. In fact, it reminds me a little bit of Event Horizon with the inner ring and the outer ring. And that kind of makes sense too, because the base looks a little bit like that of a spaceship or some kind of technological place. And then it looks like all of these can be painted to be like electrical rather than just demonic warp fire. And then I think you can paint this center ring, definitely Event Horizon. Okay, first I was thinking like Stargate, but Event Horizon for sure. I can see a little bit of flash. You can barely see the flash that's kind of hanging. So here's the biggest piece right there, hanging onto the piece. And that's easily cleaned away. I think the easiest way to clean these pieces would actually be to put it in some water. In fact, when you clean any kind of resin pieces, a lot of people suggest, and I agree, you use some warm soapy water to wash off the mold release agent as well as some excess pieces of flash. Then look for those mold lines, and like we saw earlier, just take the back of your hobby knife and gently scrape it off. The reason why we use the back and not the blade is so that we don't scrape or dig and carve into the model. We're just scraping the mold line off, and there's no sharpened blade for us to actually ruin the model itself. Yeah, that is totally Event Horizon. You can see it looks like layered steel on the ring there. There's like 4 layers of steel, 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, you can do some really, really great effects of, like, especially if you're good at object source lighting. I think you can do some really great things with that one. You can, for all of these, it looks like you can find some really interesting places to put the glow of demon fire, bale fire, whatever you want to call it. So there you go, Timmy. What the heck is that? So again, Awaken Realms, I'm going to link to their Kickstarter and their website. Check them out. Check out these pieces. Check out all their ranges. This is just, like I mentioned, one of their themed sets of terrain and objective markers. And yeah, give them some support. And if you can, tell them I sent you, so that they know that you heard about it first here on Warboss Tay's channel. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you have a great day out there, and we'll see you in the next video.